everyone, Dan Eisner here from ZLC Employee Benefit Solutions. My passion as an employee benefits advisor is to find better ways for employee benefits, particularly different from those used for the past 20 or 30 years. And it's this passion that drove me to develop the Better Benefits podcast series. In these podcasts, I leverage my relatively unique profile, having almost 25 years experience as an employee benefits advisor and being the only chartered professional accountant working in this industry in the local market. In this episode, I want to talk about the current state of transparency for compensation paid to people like me, employee benefits advisors in Canada. I want to highlight disappointments around the lack of broader industry oversight in this area, but also celebrate the proactivity taken by some advisors. So let's get started. So we're entering 2026, and there is still no requirement for employee benefits advisors to disclose to their clients how and what they are paid. As a reminder, the Canadian Life and Health Insurance Association, what we call the CLHIA, introduced its recommended compensation disclosure guidelines for employee benefits advisors in Canada about 8 years ago, back in January 2018. And they were commonly known as the G19 initiative. That guideline would have required all advisors to disclose the compensation they receive for both group benefits and retirement programs to their clients. The CLHIA ultimately withdrew their recommended G19 guidelines in May 2019 after facing significant opposition from multiple advisors and industry groups across Canada. Now, those advisors who oppose this initiative around transparency promised to replace it with something better, but today, 8 years later, we are still operating with no guidelines in place on an industry-wide basis, nor does there appear to be any progress made on their initiative. Only a few advisors, including ZLC Employee Benefit Solutions, proactively provide transparency around compensation to their clients. For many business leaders, clear transparency around vendor compensation and a strong understanding of the services those fees cover is essential. Based on my experience, when we are fully transparent with our clients about how and what we are paid, trust grows. Engagement rises, and our relationships become stronger. Transparency isn't just about satisfying regulators. It's about creating a client relationship where fairness is visible, consistency is expected, and clients feel respected. Let's not forget that advisor compensation, particularly if it's paid by way of commissions tied to insurance premiums, those are part of employee benefits program costs. So as a result, any adjustment to the commission rate paid to an advisor impacts overall plan costs. So for example, reducing a 5% commission rate to a 4% commission rate will have a direct 1% reduction on the employee benefits program costs. And a small reduction can still provide a meaningful impact on the bottom line or simply help group benefit sponsors keep their programs sustainable, given that employee benefits inflation has ranged annually from 6 to 9% over the last decade. Group benefits plan sponsors need to ask themselves if the value of the services provided by their advisors has gone up in relation to any increased level of compensation. When looking at this question, those plan sponsors should demand transparency so that they can accurately make this assessment. They should also consider a couple of factors when reviewing those costs. For example, when the advisor's cost structure has increased as a result of, is that a result of being part of an industry consolidator with potentially increased overhead? And ask whether the level of service has gone down if your advisor has directed you, the plan sponsor, to now contact the carriers directly with any issues and questions that you have. Most employee benefits plan sponsors will not have a problem paying higher commissions if they are getting expanded or enhanced services. Ultimately, without transparency, how would they know? So transparency can feel uncomfortable because it forces conversations that many advisors have avoided for years. But today's clients expect more and deserve more. In my view, all employee benefits advisors should move away from the industry environment that is currently lacking that transparency. In the long run, it's more beneficial to all parties to accept the reality of potentially having to react to another industry compliance or regulatory initiative in the future, and just proactively build a new culture of that transparency with your clients. So at ZLC Employee Benefit Solutions, we are proud to say that while that G19 initiative may be long dead, transparency around compensation to us as employee benefits and group retirement advisors continues to be alive and well. We went in a different direction from the broader industry in 2019, as we did not agree with the work that this anti-19 advisors group was doing. We provide full disclosure, formally detailed in our annual renewal reports, so that each of our clients can assess our value add. The feedback from our clients continues to be positive, and we will maintain our transparency so that each of our clients, regardless of size, understands the nature of compensation paid to us and the estimated annual amount. Okay, you've heard my thoughts and opinions, so please let me know what you think. How does this compare to what you're hearing from your current advisor or other advisors in the market? As always, I'm really interested to know if there are any other topics that you'd like to see me cover in future podcasts. Let me know what's bothering you or keeping you awake at night with respect to your employee benefits plans. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to follow me on my LinkedIn business page, and that's Dan Eisner, Employee Benefits Advisor, to get a notification on the next Better Benefits podcast. And all that information will come up on the screen in a second. Thanks so much.